Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning into the KDE Office of Teaching and Learning webcast. I'm Amanda Ellis, Associate Commissioner over this great office, and we're so glad you tuned in. I have with me today Robin McCoy. Thank you, Robin. And later on, Leanne Pickrell will be here to talk about the long-awaited information around the Course Codes project. You all have been highly involved and anxiously awaiting the release of the materials as promised on the 15th that will be coming, and so we have Robin with us today to give updates and to share as much information as possible. But before I turn it over to Robin, I want to remind you that you can ask questions live. If you look at the website at the bottom of the screen, it's the Go Soapbox app. Of course, our password is OTL, or the room will be in is OTL, and you're able to type in questions and submit them live, and we'll be happy to answer them to the best of our knowledge, and do that online. And then, of course, by the end, we'll do the 5 things you need to know before you go. So I'm going to turn it over to Robin. Robin, thanks for being here, and I'm sure you have great information to share.
Yes, I know you are all anxiously awaiting the release of the course codes on January 15th. So we're excited to be able to bring you some update on that, and that we will be releasing on January 15th. So at first, I'll start with the scope of the project again, the amount of information that will be released. We will also touch on Kentucky academic standards today, and we will provide you with some information on KDE support that will be occurring. So let's start again. I am Robin McCoy. I am the School Counselor Program Coordinator, but also one of the project team leads on course codes, and also Leanne Pickrell will be joining us today, who is going to talk about Kentucky academic standards. Just an update is that for the past year, the KDE has been working on a state course code project that you guys are awaiting information about. It is geared to promote access to all students across Kentucky. It is aligned now, or provided an alignment with Kentucky Academic Standards 2 state course codes, and an alignment with our new accountability system that will be rolling out. The outcomes of the project, again, was the alignment of the Kentucky Academic Standards to the state course codes. This provided an alignment of standards with course codes in new course codes, discontinued course codes, and updated course codes descriptions. And of course, one thing we're excited about is offering a searchable database that will come forth later. We're not ready to roll that out with the January 15th, we wish, but it's not quite ready. The development isn't there yet, and so we hope to roll that out later this year. That's an exciting thing that will happen later on. So let's talk about what will be rolled out. So on January 15th, we will release the state course code lists. You guys are probably very familiar with these lists. They're very long, but hopefully we have condensed it a bit to be able to offer you kind of cleaner versions of these state course codes lists. It will contain, of course, the codes, the names, and the descriptions, along with eligible certifications to teach each course. In addition to the course code lists, we will be offering the following resources. So one big comprehensive list of all changes. You're probably very aware of these. We've ever released them in the past. They typically come in the form of an Excel document. We'll be releasing the list of a deprecated codes list and suggestions for replacement codes. We know probably that's the area that will be most sought after. The information most sought after is what courses have been deprecated and what can we replace them with. Another big item are these course standards documents where we show the state course code which has been aligned to the specific standards. We will be providing guidance documents on the use of course code 909999. This course code for a long time has been used in on many forms. And so we would like to rein in the use of that course code. I want to remind you that the course code 909999 must be approved by a local board of education in combination with a site-based council. And so that guidance is in there. We are also providing a new dual credit placeholder state code. We listened to the field as they said that dual credit is something a little bit different when we go to schedule because we're going off of a college schedule, and so we needed a placeholder code to be able to meet those needs in the time that we do scheduling before the college courses are in. We will be releasing an updated data standard for course scheduling, so how to put in courses in Infinite Campus as well as dual credit. Now the dual credit data standard will not be released on the 15th. We are going to wait on that because it is still under revision due to the accountability, the linkage with accountability. We will offer a list of courses that will be tracked for rich curricula under Opportunity and Access. Well, I'll get into that in just a minute because I know you all are probably awaiting information on that. That's a big topic. A list of courses that can offer an end-of-course exam, and a list of frequently asked questions. So I want to point out some significant changes that are included in this course code project. Now there are more changes, but these are the significant ones. So the first one was the alignment to Kentucky academic standards to our state course codes. We will be offering new general education dual credit state course codes that are still under revision. So these course codes will not be released on the 15th. They are under revision, but I wanted you all to know that they will be coming. So be prepared for that. Of course, the new dual credit placeholder state course code, which can be used in the meantime until we give you all the approved dual credit state course codes for general education. We deprecated all immersion state course codes, and we have a plan outlined for you on how to meet those needs for schools that endorse immersion programs. The new state course code for students attending Gatton and Craft academies. We listened again to the field to say, hey, we need a course code for that, and so we have provided that. Some more of the significant changes are an integrated pathway that facilitates the coverage of all high school required Kentucky academic standards for math. And so there is the regular pathway, the Algebra 1 geometry and Algebra 2, in addition to an integrated pathway. Integrated 1, 2, and 3 both meet the standards in different forms. We are providing an integrated and a conceptual pathway in science that facilitates the coverage of all Kentucky academic standards for science. We are deprecating, and this may make you nervous, but I promise we can do this, a deprecation of all other special topics and independent study courses. We have a plan for you to do that. As you have questions, we can definitely walk through that with you. And the deprecation of all elementary school self-contained state course codes. I think most elementary schools have gone to scheduling classes, not necessarily by time, and not that you need to, but that putting in a specific reading course, specific math course, and that's what we will be asking you to do from here on out. So those were a few of the big changes that will be coming forth. I want you to know that you can access state course code documents and resources on the Kentucky Uniform Academic Course Code website, or the web page rather, starting on Monday, January 15th. We cannot release any earlier. I promise you we are working through the weekend to get this published for you, or else we would publish it as soon as we can. All right, so let's touch base on the accountability and opportunity and access and tracking that rich curricula. So let me give you a reminder for the regulation. The regulation states that we in elementary school have to provide access to visual and performing arts, health and physical education, science and social studies. At the middle school, they include career exploration into that. And so let me give you, I think most of you have seen this chart. So I want to show this chart to you to show that this is rich curricula and opportunity and access, the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. I want to note that those measurement charts are still under development and are not being released at this time. But I want to show you I wanted to show you this chart so you can see what you will need to include in Infinite Campus, just to touch on that. Tomorrow during the cases training, we'll go more in depth into the Infinite Campus technicalities of this, but I wanted all school leaders to be aware Opportunity and Access is tracking rich curricula in these areas. So let's take a look. At the elementary school, you need to provide your student access to visual and performing arts, health and PE, science, and social studies throughout the day. And so, in Infinite Campus, we have added a new field called instructional time, where you will place how much time you are awarding to each content area in those 4 contents. The ideal scenario that you would do that is that you would do that for all content areas. It would create this nice pie chart of where your time is being put forth to your students and allow you to see a big picture. The regulation only does require the 4 at the elementary school level, so keep that in mind. At the middle school level, you have 5 courses that they need to have access to: visual and performing arts, health and PE, science, social studies, and career exploration. And again, we will be collecting data via that instructional time. So if I go back to the charts, it is going to say percentage of students in some capacity, and then it's going to go to hours per year. So it says weeks of instruction there. Like I said, it's under development. It will go to hours per year. How many hours per year are you offering students access to these 4 curricula or content areas at elementary and the 5 areas at the middle school level? So keep that in mind as we go forward. Now I know a lot of questions will be, well, how much time should we be allowing? And so that measurement chart is going to come, I promise you, from Assessment and Accountability. And so it will be forthcoming. But as you begin scheduling, you will need to know, I will need to put this as instructional time in Infinite Campus. Therefore, instructional leaders, school leaders, you need to be thinking, how much time are we awarding? And have those intense leadership discussions to be able to dictate how much time you are awarding to this. Now, let's touch base on the accountability pool for transition readiness, the academic readiness indicator. So under transition readiness, we do track. Academic Ready is going to use dual credit courses. So the completion of 6 or more hours of Kentucky Department of Education approved dual credit and receiving a course grade of B or higher. Also in Career Ready, they are going to track the completion of 6 or more hours of Kentucky Department of Education approved CTE dual credit. So we know those data pools are going to need to come from Infinite Campus. And so I want you to know that although we will not be releasing on January 15th this information, I want you to know it is coming and that we are going to release course codes for you to use for dual credit. For CTE has their own path of how to do things within the pathways, and then general education, we have ours, and we'll be offering the specific course codes for this. I want you to know that you will need to record the student enrollment in the KDE in Infinite Campus by October 1 for the fall semester and by March 1 of the spring term for us to be able to do those data pools. It's very, very important that you do use the appropriate course codes that we release, and as well that 3rd bullet, that the course naming adheres to what our data standard says, or else the points will not be adequately awarded. And so the adherence to the course code and the naming procedure is very important. And I would like school leaders, if you could stress this with your staff that deals with the input of information into Infinite Campus, because at the end of it all, it will come back to affect points within transition readiness. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Leanne Pickrell to talk about Kentucky academic standards.
All right. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully it's nice and clear roads in your area and you're back to school and back on schedule. It feels good to be back on schedule, I know, for our family, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the Kentucky academic standards related to the course code project. So the overall charge of the project was to align the state course codes to the standards that are being taught in the course. So for instance, Algebra 1 in Pikeville, Paducah, everywhere in between will be the same standards taught within that course, and that allows for students that may transition from district to district to have received the exact same standards across the state. So really looking at equitable access and continuity across the Commonwealth for those courses. In most, and Robin I know has talked about a lot of changes this morning, but let's talk about a few things that are probably going to remain pretty constant for the new work of the course code. So in most of our elementary and middle school courses, you will see that standards were already, as adopted, were grade banded, so that won't really change. So the standards that were being taught for second grade ELA as adopted in the Kentucky Academic Standards are the standards you'll see aligned to the grade 2 ELA course codes. So we don't anticipate a lot of differences in the standards alignment for elementary and middle school in particular. At the high school, English courses were also adopted and aligned by grade band, so those are really going to be pretty consistent as well. So we'll see pretty much a continuation of what had been completed in the past for those courses. Now, what you may see in courses, particularly in science and mathematics, where the standards were not specifically aligned to a course, teams reviewed the adopted Kentucky Academic Standards and identified the standards that were most closely aligned to the description of the course. So the course descriptions have changed in some instances, but not dramatically. For biology, that course description has not changed significantly so that it would be so different from what was already being taught. In most cases, I would anticipate districts will see very close connections to what they were already teaching. Now, there may be a few standards or things that were included and aligned that may need to be adjustments made on the district end to encompass those standards, but for the most part, I would anticipate that districts will see close connections to what they were already teaching in courses like biology. So what you will see on the rollout day for each course with standards aligned, you'll see a document that a teacher can pull, an instructional supervisor, principal can pull, and it lists every standard that's aligned to the course. And we felt that that was an important way of communicating to the field. And so an example that you have on the screen is what this will look like for one course. Now, certainly, I think we over 100 documents. So each course that's aligned to standards will have one of these documents that a teacher can pull up and print out and or hang on to digitally and refer to throughout the year to see those standards that were aligned to the course. Now, just as a reminder, some people have asked, why in the world are we doing this right now when the standards are under review or revision? And the answer to that is we currently have adopted standards. And so what we've done is aligned our course codes to the currently adopted Kentucky Academic Standards. As standards are adopted and go through the revision cycles, certainly we will be looking at those standards and aligning them to the course code based on shifts that may occur with the revision. Certainly, we will be in communication with the field as those are completed, and new documents will be drafted and information will be shared in terms of changes to any alignment of standards to courses. So I'm going to hand it back over to Robin and let her finish you out with the support that we're providing here at KDE.
Okay. We know that school districts will have questions, maybe very specific to a specific school or a district as a whole. And so KDE does want to offer some additional support to guide you through this. So I've already mentioned on January 10th, tomorrow, CASIS, which is our Infinite Campus technology leads within the department, will offer a 1 hour. It can be in person at the department or via webcast, which I would support. You know, most of you are not so technical, you're getting into the course code project or the course codes in Infinite Campus that you need to attend a full day, but just that 1 hour so you're aware. A lot of this information will be repeated, but we'll go a little more in depth into the technicalities of Infinite Campus. This is to prepare your master schedulers as well as your technical staff on the upcoming release. On January 22nd through the 26th, the KDE will host daily virtual office hours via Google Hangouts for school leaders to ask questions of the KDE consultants and each other. And so I will give a little bit of more information on that in just a minute. But also on February 8th, the DAC monthly webinar will feature frequently asked questions by districts regarding state course codes. So let's talk about these virtual office hours. These are good ways for you to be able to interact with our consultants that were very, very heavily involved with the Course Code project, including our oversight team in addition to our content area specialists. So again, we're going to host these daily office hours. You can use the following link to participate. So a Google Hangout is really simple. Just click the link and then put in your name to be able to participate. We will allow for a pre-submission of questions, and so via the Google Form link. And so that is again in the PowerPoint for you today. Now, feel free to submit the questions, but we do have specific topics for each day that we will adhere to be able to answer the amount of questions that might come in. So know that each office hour is arranged by topic that I'll share on the next slide. Again, the KDE consultants will be there to facilitate the conversation. The first 15 minutes of all office hours will include general questions. So we will try to answer any kind of general, very course code specific questions that regard the entire scope of the project. The last 45 minutes of the course, or the office hour though, will go to specific questions of the consultants of content areas. So let me share this with you. So on Monday the 22nd from 11 to 10, all of these times are Eastern Standard Time, so push it back an hour for our Central Time Zone. General questions regarding state course codes. We are doing an entire hour focused on just general questions to get the ball rolling on that first day. Then from 2 to 3, we will have our science and math consultants in. We expect a lot of questions coming from those fields due to those additional integrated pathways. So feel free to always join us. We don't mind any questions and all questions to come forth. Again, starting with that science and math one, we'll do 15 minutes of general questions and then 45 minutes of those very specific content area questions. On Tuesday, we will focus on social studies and ELA at 10 to 11, and then 2 to 3, we will do questions on AP, IB, Cambridge, how to offer interventions, because those have changed. Immersion as well has changed significantly. On Wednesday, we will offer special education, that alternate diploma pathway, as well as online coursework and how to code students for online coursework. 2 to 3 will be Kentucky Academic Standards, Health and PE, and Visual and Performing Arts. On Thursday, we will do the scheduling at the elementary and middle school level. So tomorrow, we're going to share how to put in that instructional time. We can go a little more in depth to answer your questions for elementary and middle school on that Thursday from 10 to 11. And then from 2 to 3, we will be inviting our Office of Career and Technical Education. Kylie Whitaker will be on the call to answer all CTE questions regarding course codes. On Friday, we will do a dual credit segment for you guys. We'll be answering lots of questions we anticipate on dual credit and what to expect in the future. And that will also allow us to hone in on that placeholder code. Then from 2 to 3, we will again do another session on general questions to allow us to, again, at the end of the week, recap on a lot of your all's questions that you asked pertaining to the general scope of the project, and allow you all, even as you think of questions, to hone in on that last day for answering those questions. All questions that you have, please use the course code email address, coursecodes@education.ky.gov. We will be tracking that information via that email address. So if you could please always address all course code questions to this email address. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Ellis to join me back into answer some questions first.
Okay. We did have a couple of questions. Just the first one's just logistics about today's webcast. Says, will we have access to the PowerPoint you're using? Of course, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
We always take this webcast, we send out the link and any of the materials. This time will be the PowerPoint, and we will email that out. I'm sure you can email that to all of your counselors, PDL as well. So yes, we'll do that first thing this morning as soon as we log off. We try to make that as efficient and direct to you. The next question we have is specific to the course codes. It says, will we need to discontinue any courses that do not have a code?
That do not have a code. I'm a little bit confused by that question of why a course would not have a code. If you're talking about inside the instructional day, it should have a code. Outside of the instructional day, it may not have a code or may have a different sort of code. So if you want to email me on that course codes at education.ky.gov, I will answer that question specific to your school of how you're doing that without a code.
Great, thank you. And then the other one is, have middle school science standards been aligned to a grade level course as well?
Leanne, could you?
Yes,
Yes.
they have.
Yes, they have.
And so the specifics, if there's any concern or any type of integration, they should really come in on those office hours or that office hour time given to science to address that.
Right. Our science consultant, she can answer really the in-depth standards alignment questions, and she will be on that in those virtual office hours on that Monday. But then again, feel free to email the course codes at education.ky.gov with any questions, and we can meet with our science consultant to get you answers.
Great. That's all I have right now, but I'm going to let people type any more in. I will go on and do the 5 things to know before you go. We have several that are online this morning, and so I want to make sure we give people time to type in their questions they may have. Just a few reminders. If you have not read the commissioner's email, you're going to find that the majority of that information actually comes from our office this week. So the first thing is on the Striving Readers Comprehensive Literacy Grant. The RFA, or the request for application, should be coming out any day now. There are a lot of steps that must go through to be approved and posted, but we are anxious for that to be posted at any time. Of course, your contact is Jackie Rogers, the number 2, at education.ky.gov if you have any specific questions. The other point on that is that you can always look at the KDE Competitive Grants webpage. And so that's something to be aware of. That is a continuum model for districts, K-12, around literacy, instruction, professional learning. I think it's an excellent opportunity, something you would definitely want to look into. Removal of instructional management system, the IMS. If you have any questions, you can contact Kathy White. But basically, EDS, the Educators Development Suite, is still available. It is still being used for your personnel evaluations, your what is formerly known as PGES, your system is still there. The IMS, the Instructional Management System piece, is shut down for most districts just for the lack of use. The few districts that are still using that have a system worked out with our technology system. But if you have any questions specific to that around the EDS and accessing that, please reach out to Kathy White. That takes us into the personnel evaluation and the certified evaluation plan work sessions. Please contact Christine Meisberger for any questions, but we have around 100 districts, I think, or close to 100 districts that are signed up to receive support around your CEP development. There are a lot of decisions districts have to make. There are webinars out to provide support, but we really encourage you to take advantage of your regional face-to-face opportunity to get assistance, to ask any clarifying questions, because the district really has a lot of ownership around their system with the changes due to Senate Bill 1, 2017. The applications, we are seeking applications for our Commissioners Teachers Advisory Council, the TAC is what we call it. If you have any questions or anything you would be interested in applying, there's the TAC website. It is available to you. It will be a live link when you receive the PowerPoint. And then the teacher leader at education.ky.gov for any questions. We'd be happy to answer those. Highly encourage us. There are about 40 teachers who sit with the commissioner to provide input based on the teachers of the state. I think it's a great opportunity, great leadership opportunity. And then our next OTL webcast is Tuesday, January 23rd. Another hot topic coming around the bend is social studies standards revision, a long-awaited, and now is the time to start thinking ahead on that and beginning the process. So please tune in there and meet us, and so we can talk more about this opportunity. At this time, it doesn't look like we have any additional questions, so well done, ladies. And of course, if you do have questions, please email course codes, all one word, at education.ky.gov. We will get back to you and we will be able to address your concerns. Thank you and have a fantastic day.